What's up, Taiwan? I'm Yvonne with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. Japanese voters have stripped the long-ruling Liberal Democratic Party of its majority, leaving Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru in a tough position just weeks after taking office. John Van Trieste reports.
Across Japan, election workers spent Sunday counting ballots in a snap election. Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru, now barely a month in office, called the vote in the hopes of a strong mandate. But as the votes were tallied, it became clear the move had backfired. His Liberal Democratic Party, a party that's ruled Japan almost without interruption since the 1950s, lost its majority. On the streets of Tokyo, there was some surprise.
やっぱ自民党って日本でいうとなんだかんだ言ってもこうなんか占めてるイメージだったので、ってちょっと思いました。
But also a recognition that scandals, most recently over ties to the Unification Church and political kickbacks, had worn out voters' patience. Ishiba himself says he knew the fight would be a tough one.
ここに至るまでは相当に厳しいねと思いますし、それは選挙の途中というかな、半ばぐらいからこれは相当きついねということは実感はしてましたね。
But the fight ahead may be even tougher. The Liberal Democratic Party and its junior partner, the Komeito, now have just 215 seats, 18 short of a majority. Ishiba must now either try to form a wider coalition, one in which his party will be in a weaker position, or rule as a minority government. Both options are potentially risky. But while the opposition says stripping the Liberal Democratic Party of its majority was a major goal, it's not exactly celebrating. It's made up of a range of parties of different sizes and ideologies, and they'll need to stick together. Even the biggest, the Constitutional Democratic Party, is 85 short of a majority.
まだ初めの一歩だと。これから大変だと思ってます。ですからあまりもともとあまり笑顔は出る方じゃないですけど、むしろ気が引き締まってきた緊張感があるということです。
All this adds up to an unusual period of weakness for a party used to calling the shots, and more political uncertainty ahead for the world's fourth biggest economy. Kamashu and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
To find out more about what this latest election means for Japan's future, John Van Trieste spoke to Professor Cai Xixun, chair of Tamkang University's Graduate Institute of Japanese Political and Economic Studies.
A series of scandals had really cut into the Liberal Democratic Party's popularity over the past few years. But is that the only reason voters rejected them in this election?
石破茂他的讲法跟之前的讲法会有一点改变，因为他在选自民党总裁，就是首相之前的话，他一直讲就是所谓的我们也要马上解散国会。可是他上来之后，他的态度就马上转变，或者说我们会看到他说要所谓日美地位协定的话重新协调。 但他也没有去做，然后当然我们又会看到，像是对于汇率的这个问题点的话，他一上来之后又马上让日币变成一个贬值的一个情况。
What do you see the Liberal Democratic Party and its junior partner, the Komeito, doing now? Could they really lose their majority?
那少了18席，等于是说你必须要去把别人的话抓过来。那抓过来的话，在野党愿不愿意给他？所以他现在希望去找所谓的国民民主党。 国民民主党的话也不一定愿意。礼拜四嘛，11月7日他们要开特别国会。那如果说他们没有人过半的话，就会选2个人上到第2轮。那第2轮现在看起来应该就是所谓的野田佳彦会出来代表立宪民主党。当然，石破茂他自己本身说他没有要去辞职，那这是你自己的一个想法。可是人家还是会逼你下来。如果是这样子的话，在野党。 集合起来，那票数会超过，但在野党要集合也没有那么样的一个容易。
If the Liberal Democratic Party does form a minority government, it would be an unusual thing to happen. But why is it a significant thing to happen?
这次的重要性在于执政党的话，不一定是只有叫做自民党，自民党它已经失去完全执政的那一种能力。 他即使持续下去的话，即使我们知道石破茂，即使他在下一任当首相的话，他必须要去协调跟他愿意合作的党，因为我们知道公民党嘛，公民党的话，他加上来的话也没有到过半，那没有到过半的话，他的法案一定要去找 其他党，可能是所谓的国民民主党，可能是所谓的维新党，所以他政策的话，等于是不能够说我自己想要做什么就做什么。
That was Professor Cai Xixun from Tamkang University. Taiwan's defense ministry is reporting 22 Chinese military aircraft operating around the country since Sunday. Of those planes, 17 breached Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, or ADIZ. This airspace is not part of Taiwan's territory, but the military uses it for security purposes. The increased activity comes just a day after Beijing said it would take countermeasures in response to a $2 billion arms sale to Taipei. That U.S. arms sale includes an advanced air defense system called NASAMS. To find out what Beijing means when it says it'll take countermeasures for the arms deal, Jaime Okong spoke to Ben Lewis. He's the co-founder of PLA Tracker, an organization that tracks military activity around Taiwan.
Now, Ben, China's foreign ministry said it was going to take countermeasures against the U.S. After it sold this air defense system to Taiwan. And on Monday morning, we see the defense ministry here in Taiwan reporting 22 Chinese planes around the country. Are these planes part of that countermeasure?
I think it's very likely, yes. I mean, I think countermeasures has kind of become a widely encompassing term for, gray zone military activity, economic coercion, sanctions on U.S. companies, individuals who are providing arms to Taiwan. So I do think this is part of it, and I think it's not going to be the last thing we see.
Now, last week, the United States announced it'd be selling Taiwan this $2 billion arms sale package deal with the NASAMS anti-air system, as well as radar equipment. How significant is this arms sale to Taiwan?
These weapons are very significant. I mean, NASAMS, is a powerful capability. It has been combat tested in Ukraine. It's something that Taiwan needs in terms of bolstering its air defense. One thing we've learned from Joint Sword 2024B, PLA conducts a massive air exercise. Best way to counter that is to have good air defense. And the radars you get with that are going to help Taiwan better monitor the situation. So the concern that a lot of analysts have had is that the MND does not have enough capabilities to fully capture the air and maritime domain. I think, additional radars is going to relieve that burden. And the missiles that you get with it are powerful capabilities.
And in terms of overall military activity from China, what are we seeing? Is there a clear increase in military ships and planes around Taiwan that we're seeing?
I mean, we've completely eclipsed the record of activity that was set in 2022. We had 1,738 incursions total in 2022. It's now towards the end of October. We're at 800 more incursions than that. And basically what that equates to is just the intensity of China's course of activity in the gray zone, surrounding Taiwan, in the air and on the water, is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this. And most of it has happened since May, when President Lai was inaugurated. So it's a clear coercive campaign by Beijing targeting the Lai administration, attempting to weaken Taiwan's defenses through attrition. Likely it's going to continue, and I think it has very dire consequences for the region in terms of the precedent that it's setting.
That was Ben Lewis, co-founder of PLA Tracker. Taiwan's foreign ministry says China has no right to intervene in its diplomatic relationships after Beijing called on Guatemala to end ties with Taiwan. The statement comes after Beijing's foreign ministry said Guatemala should make the, quote, right decision and establish relations with Beijing. Taiwan's foreign minister met with Guatemalan leaders last week to mark 90 years of ties between the two countries. Lin Jialong is leading a delegation to 4 of Taiwan's diplomatic allies in Central America and the Caribbean. Lithuania's opposition Social Democratic Party has claimed victory in parliamentary elections there. It's projected to win 52 seats in the legislature, beating the ruling party with 28 seats.
Ir rinkimų rezultatai iš tikrųjų parodė, kad Lietuvos žmonės, nesvarbu, kur jie begyventų, didmiesčiuose, miestuose, miesteliuose ar kaimuose, jie nori pokyčių. Jiems reikia visiškai kitokios valdžios, nearogantiškos, girdinčios jų problemas, ieškančios tų problemų sprendimų.
The war in Ukraine and soaring inflation were major concerns in the election. The Social Democrats are expected to form a coalition government with 2 other parties. The party previously said it would normalize relations with China, which is soured after Taiwan opened a representative office in Lithuania in 2021. Indonesia is working towards becoming a regional hub for electric vehicle production after Southeast Asia's first battery plant opened in the country. The plan is being aided by government initiatives and supported by key EV brands, but as Rosie Greninger reports, it also faces some challenges.
These robotic arms are assembling nickel-based battery cells in West Java at Indonesia's inaugural electric vehicle battery plant. The state-of-the-art factory is the first of its kind in Southeast Asia, built by Hyundai and LG as part of a joint venture investment with Indonesia. Most of these batteries will be shipped to Hyundai subsidiaries in South Korea and India, but Indonesia is looking to build on the investment to become a regional EV hub and boost the economy.
Bright outlook. It's getting bigger and bigger, the electric vehicle market. And then in Southeast Asia, this is the first and only cell manufacturing. And the Indonesian government, this factory and ecosystem is very important in Indonesia's future.
When the plant opened in July, then President Joko Widodo said such investments would make Indonesia an important player in the supply chain. Since then, the government has unveiled incentives to boost their EV market, including a luxury goods tax exemption to lure automakers to Indonesia. Electric vehicle companies can avoid paying import duties until 2025 if they commit to building facilities and producing as many cars as they import by the end of 2027. The initiative has boosted sales by 35% in the period between January and August of 2024, compared with the same period last year. It's also seen a flurry of key brands enter Indonesia's market, including China's BYD and Vietnam's VinFast. These companies say Indonesia's demographic resources and strategic maritime position make it a suitable center for electric vehicle development.
Dari sisi production base, manufacturing. Nah, ini memberikan nilai tambah. Rasa saya pemerintah punya satu bargaining point yang baik dengan market sebesar ini. Dia akan mempersilahkan pelaku-pelaku industri tertentu untuk mengembangkan marketnya di Indonesia, namun juga harus memikirkan nilai tambah kepada negara. Nah, manufacturing base yang mereka canangkan itu sangat baik ya. Dan pelaku industri yang siap itu yang bisa menjawab tantangan itu.
And being one of the biggest EV markets in Southeast Asia, the potential for products to be built in Indonesia is welcome news to residents.
Saya sendiri maupun kawan-kawan yang memang sudah mulai care terhadap lingkungan, maka merupakan pilihan bagi kami untuk ikut berpartisipasi dalam melestarikan lingkungan dengan menggunakan mobil listrik. Di sisi lain memang setelah dihitung-hitung, menggunakan mobil listrik ini memang banyak efisiensinya, banyak keuntungannya.
Indonesia faces stiff competition in the race to become a regional hub from other players, including India, Thailand, and Vietnam. The country hopes boasting the world's largest nickel reserve will set them apart. But energy analysts say Indonesia still faces a battle to become a self-functioning EV centre due to its lack of related industries, with smaller capability to process and refine nickel batteries. There are also environmental concerns, with nickel mining one of the key drivers of deforestation in Indonesia.
There has been a lot of negative coverage on Indonesia's nickel products because oftentimes there's a lot of compromises in environmental, social and governance standards. So this means that moving forward, if Indonesia wants to be relevant in the global value chain, it needs to raise the standards. Otherwise it will be left out, and keep in mind that there's a lot of other competitors as well.
These challenges the government is yet to overcome. But for now, production is booming in the country's first EV battery plant. And with demand currently growing, Indonesia is pushing forward with plans to transform into a regional hub. Alex Chen and Rosie Greninger for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more of our stories. Finally, check out the Dragons of the North light show being held at a zoo in Belgium. I'm Yvonne Yang. Take care, and I'll see you next time.